Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and if you want to call and ask questions, 323-870-3857. And let's get started with it. The big one, DAZN. Beeb, $25 a month for DAZN. Not a $25 card. But listen, hey, I can't, this is a 20. You know what? This was worth the 25 in the sense that, you know, we got some big names on it. This was probably their biggest fight in quite a while on DAZN. But let's talk about it here. Anthony Joshua knocks out Robert Helenius in the 7th round. It was a huge right hand. It was a kind of like a 1-2. That one, you know, was just kind of a range fighter, and then he followed up and finally landed that big right hand for him. Helenius, man, look, did pretty good early. He established his jab. He gave Joshua fits. I think this all stems, believe it or not, I think this stems from the weigh-in. I don't know what was going on with those two, Beeb, but they were at the weigh-in, and Joshua looks at him and he says, "Are you good?" You know, and he says, "What are you talking about?" And I guess he didn't like the way Helenius was mean-mugging him or staring at him or something like that. Dude, it's a weigh-in. It's a weigh-in. You guys are going to fight. So does he have a problem with you? Yeah, I would say he has a problem with you. You should have a problem with him too, okay? Because you guys are going to fight. So, yeah. And I think that rubbed Helenius the wrong way. And he came out and busted his nose. He busted Joshua's nose up. I mean, he did pretty well. He looked like he ran out of gas, though, Beeb, in the 6th round. But Joshua didn't do anything in the 6th round either. No. He seemed to tire out, got caught with the big right hand. Beeb, before we go into what's next and everything like that, let me talk to me a little bit about Derek James here. And, you know, we were talking about this before the show. I think, you know, and you made a comment because I didn't hear any of the corner audio. I caught the fight secondhand, but I didn't hear any of the corner audio. It looks to me like Anthony Joshua just thinks too much in there. Like he's not reacting enough. He's thinking too much. And it could be an issue of let's see here. Like him just like getting so much advice. You know, he's trained, this is his 3rd trainer now, you know, and not that many fights, and he's getting a lot of advice. He's learning a lot of different stuff. And, you know, you get in there, you train to put it all together in the sense that, like, you don't want to think in there. That's kind of a dangerous thing. You don't want to think in there. You want to react in there. And that's why you train and everything like that. You give me your synopsis here. What do you make of that?
When you look at anything in life, right, when you're being trained to do something, regardless of what it is, whether it be a sport, a task, a skill, a job that you're supposed to do, you're supposed to be able to, once you're trained, to just do it without even putting much thought into it. It's supposed to become instinctive. You know what I'm saying? Like when I go to work every day, I'm not like thinking, oh, am I doing the right thing here? Am I going to get in trouble if I do this? No, because I've been doing it so long, I develop a system, a routine, and it becomes mindless, right? Like it just gets embedded and ingrained in your head, right? And that's what boxing is, especially at a high level. So, you know, it should be instinctive what Anthony Joshua does, right? He shouldn't have to think. There shouldn't be an on-off switch when you're in the ring. You shouldn't have to think. Everything should be instinctive, and your punches should just flow. And I know sometimes your opponent isn't always going to oblige with you, and you have to figure things out. But you have what's called a fight or flight mechanism instilled in you. We all do. We all have that genetically, right? And you know, that's human nature, right? That's who we are as human beings. We have fight or flight hormones. And when you look at a guy like Deontay Wilder, or look like someone like Tyson Fury, they have their fight or flight mechanism automatically set to fight. Where when you have somebody like Anthony Joshua, he's got to manually switch that thing on. So it was quite evident that Anthony Joshua was thinking too much in there, right? He was thinking too much in there. He was kind of questioning himself, second guessing himself. He did have like a spacey look on his face, right? He did have a spacey look on his face. And I don't know, man. We're not seeing somebody who early in his career was just letting those combinations flow, right? Now he's really, questioning, if I throw this punch, can I land it? And also, if I throw this punch, am I leaving myself open? When Deontay Wilder throws that right hand, he just throws that right hand. Like, if you give him that little space, he's going to throw it, right? And he's just going to instinctively throw it. There's no hesitation, right? It's like a soldier going to war, right? When you're a sniper and you have that rifle in your hand, and your trigger finger starts twitching, you start hesitating, that's when you miss the target, right? You got to be able to just fire that gun. It's the same thing when you're fighting at this level, because if you hesitate for a second against Deontay Wilder, right, you're dead meat. You're a sitting duck. And everyone that was part of that broadcast yesterday immediately said after that fight, he can't fight like this against Deontay Wilder. And I was talking to D-Style yesterday, and he says, well, he always fought like this. He was always cautious. He was never overly aggressive. And I said, yeah, he was somewhat like this, but over time it's gotten worse. That's number one. And number two, even though he kind of was hesitant and took time to figure his opponent out, he still would throw combinations when he had openings. Now he's really not doing that. He's throwing he's one and done now. One and done, or 1-2 or whatever. On a bright note, the jab did look really good yesterday. The jab looked great. Problem was the right hand. He was throwing it with a lot of hesitation. And obviously the last one he just let it go. But that was one punch. There was a great portion of that fight where he was just hesitating with it, right? He was just hesitating with it. And like I said, he can't do that against Deontay Wilder. And Derek James, he in the corner, Anthony Joshua said to Derek James, and he was turning, looking to the rest of the people in there. He was asking the whole corner questions. And he said to Derek James, he goes, I can't find the right hand. And Derek James just says, well, you got to move. You got to step. You got to step off to your right, and you got to throw the right hand where you think he's going to be. I mean, Helenius is not the quickest guy in the world. He's not
as defensive. He's not Pernell Whitaker out there,
And he's not Barry Allen, the Flash from DC Comics, right? So you shouldn't have to do something like that against, with all due respect, to Robert Helenius.
No. And, listen, I don't know how much Wilder has left. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how much he has left. He hasn't fought. When was the last time he even fought? It was Helenius, but how long ago?
Yeah. Helenius fought, Wilder fought Helenius, I think last October. So it's been a while. So,
yeah. So I tell you, somebody, Robert's telling me we have problems with Blog Talk. Let me bring him on and see if he's. Robert, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
The hell?
Yes, now I can.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna put you back on hold.
Robbie, stop with the false flags, please. You're
He's
screwing up.
me. He was like, he's texting me. He's like, well, Blog Talk is not on Blog. Something's wrong with Blog Talk.
He's texting me too, all in all caps and getting all excited. Take a Xanax.
Let me just stop the show and let me just figure this out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean,
come on, man.
come on, Robbie. I mean, we have
on.
a production team over here, man.
Whole production team.
That's why I don't want to go into it, but that's why you had problems over here because you always take
why do you have to go there all the time?
Because he's taking shots at the production team. He's taking shots at the production team.
So what? What's the matter with you?
Come on, we got to stick together here.
October 22. Somebody saying December 22.
No, it was in October. It was in October.
Yeah, I mean, so look, man. I mean, he's had one fight in how long? You know what I mean? Yeah. He doesn't fight very often. It's hard to say whether he looked good or didn't look good against Helenius because that was, one round. And Helenius, let's face it, was tailor-made for him.
Well, he took a dive, but
he took a dive. That's right. He took a dive against AJ too, I guess.
No, that was a good one. They tried to slip him.
Robert, this is what he texts me. Guys. This is my lot in life. This is what I have to go through during the show.
Well, that's why we had to let him go.
I'll stop it. I'm not making this stuff up. When I tell you things not working, that's what I mean, guys. Give me a break. I know. All right, I know. Just relax.
Robbie.
Oh,
stop with the false flags.
God, where's the 806 to save me from this, this whole thing? Where's Big Texas at?
Please.
He can save us from this whole thing, right? Listen, we know that if they fought, Wilder's going to be favored. I would think. Even though I think Joshua has more ways to win, I don't trust that he can. I don't trust that he's not going to get hit with that right hand at some point.
He's always gotten hit with that right hand. Klitschko hit him with it. Parker hit him with it.
And I'll be honest, man. That's where
Beckin hit him with it.
Where did he change? That fight's where he changed. That Klitschko fight.
Sure, that was the beginning.
Klitschko fight. Just like with Camacho, that Edwin Rosario fight, that's where he changed.
Perfect example. I've said that all along.
You look at Floyd Mayweather when he moved up to welterweight. That's when he changed. It's just you see this. But when Joshua changed, the other guys kind of find a different style to adapt to. He hasn't really found that. He moves up and he's just all he is just more cautious. He doesn't have a different style. He didn't try to adapt or anything like that. He's just more cautious of not getting hit.
I'm not nitpicking here, right? But even it's just his whole mentality, right? When you hear him in an interview, someone will ask him a question, and his response will be, well, what do you think? Meaning he's always concerned about what someone else is thinking. He's always asking people questions and I keep hearing this. Tony Bellew, I almost threw up last night listening to Tony Bellew. He's still a work in progress. He's still learning on the job. He's 33 years old, a two-time heavyweight champion, and a former gold medalist. There is no more learning on the job. What you see is what you get. And just like anything else in life, you become a product of life's experiences, right? And he's become a product of his experiences.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock. There's 1,355 registered heavyweights global. If you're in the top 3 or 4, you're in the 99 percentile, top 99 percentile. You're a two-time heavyweight champion. You're a former Olympic gold medalist. You won 3 of the belts. You were one shy of becoming undisputed. You're going in the Hall of Fame, and you're making millions of dollars. You fight Wilder, you're going to make probably at least $60 million. Your life is set, right? So you don't have to worry about anything in the world. But at the end of the day, people were trying to say he was the best heavyweight in the world. No, probably top 3 or 4, and that's that. And that's not nothing to sneeze at. You did it. You won the titles. You have your accomplishments, but you've never been the guy, and that's okay. But you're still making, millions and millions of dollars. Arguably, you're still the money man in the division. Maybe Fury, maybe you. I mean, it's tough, but you're right there with either the number one guy. You are still the most popular guy there.
Money guy, he's probably still the guy. Him and Fury are the guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're still so again, like you're. But the problem is I think they've created a god complex with him because he keeps hearing how much he's done for British boxing. And again, this is no knock on him. I mean, he has brought a lot of attention to the British boxing scene in recent years. And when you're on an AJ undercard, right, you're going to get a lot of exposure, right?
Sure.
All that's great. But there was guys before him, Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn, Lennox Lewis. You know, there's been other UK guys, and there's going to be UK guys after you. So he keeps getting this drilled in his head. Oh, look what you've done for UK boxing. Look what and he's even said it on a couple of occasions. So they've given him this god complex,
almost like the Oscar De La Hoya complex. You know,
yeah,
I carry boxing on my shoulders and all that other nonsense.
Yeah, but again, there's always going to be someone after you. Just like Oscar left, Absolutely. Then you had Floyd. Floyd left, then you had Canelo. When Canelo leaves, someone else is going to fill that void.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the thing. Prince Nassim, thank you, Maestro. He's another one. Came
awesome.
over to, when all these guys came over to America and they represented the UK globally, right?
Yeah.
He basically fights in the UK. Now, again, a lot of American fighters do the same thing and they don't cross the pond. Okay, I get that. But, some do. Some do. But at the end of the day, I think they've built him up to be something that he's not. He's never been the guy. Okay, he's done a lot for British boxing, but so have a lot of other fighters, and so will more fighters after him. So now when he gets criticized, it just shudders his ego. Yeah. Like those guys on Talk Sport, they're not really trashing him, but they're just calling it like they see it. So every time you criticize them, they play this him and Eddie Hearn, they play this victim card. Oh, yeah. We're being treated unfairly, blah, 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 blah. Listen, Mayweather was the best fighter of this era, and he had to deal with it his whole career. Oh, you're not fighting anybody. Oh, you waited for this guy to get old. So it comes with the territory, man. So don't just think that all of a sudden you're being singled out or whatever. But like I said, they've given this guy a god complex, in my opinion. They kept telling him that how special he was and how great he was for UK boxing, and he's carrying, and even he said it. Oh, I'm carrying the division on my back, and it's like, I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see.
I don't know, man. I'll tell you what. I just think that I'm interested in a Wilder fight. I am. I'm interested in it. Can he stay away from that right hand?
I don't think he can.
And if he does stay away from the right hand, does he win that fight? I don't know.
I don't know. If you're going to be economical with your shots, it's gonna be a problem. And something that he did yesterday, I was really keying in on it. He was trying to throw the left hook. But see, before he used to step in with the right hand and the left hook would be there for him. He was so concerned about stepping in with these shots, right? So hesitant to step in with these shots. He was actually throwing the left hook, in a wide looping fashion and leaping in with it. It was almost like an arm punch. He never used to throw the left hook like that. That used to be one of his monster shots. Like he landed that like half hook, half uppercut against Klitschko, and that was the punch that was the beginning of the end in that fight, right? So I don't know, man. One thing that I did notice, and Drew's right, he did take a lot. He was getting hit with a lot of jabs. Like Helenius could not miss him with the jab, and he was busting up his eye and busted up his lip.
Well, we can play devil's advocate here for a minute too. Let's face it. Helenius was a late sub.
That's true.
So he didn't have time to get rid of. He didn't have time to get ready for Helenius. He didn't have time, and
fair enough.
So, and he's got a new trainer in there.
But Helenius didn't have time to get ready for him either.
That's true. That's very true.
So.
I just think that I want to see that fight. I think that's a good fight. What fight I would like to see more? And it's not going to happen, but the fight I'd like to see right now is Jared Anderson and AJ, and I think he washes AJ.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Not
amazing.
even close.
Okay.
Not even close, son. Washes.
I hope Top Rank is listening to you.
Of course they listen. I mean, you know, you're on the horn with Bob all the time. Of course he's listening. He loves us. Yeah. All right. So, and then who was on the undercard? Chisora and Gerald Washington. Jesus.
Hrgovic. He looked very unimpressive as well.
The 12th round, he stopped him in the 12th round or whatever.
He was in there with Dempsey McKean. Dempsey McKean was very negative. He's very negative in the fight. Both guys looked like they were getting tired in there. Whatever happened to the days of guys like Evander Holyfield who just kept throwing, like they had a gas tank to him. Even Lennox Lewis, he had a gas tank to him too. He never
was
got
always
tired
in shape, man. Yeah, he was always, you know, he was always in there. I have your leader says Anderson sucks. Wow, that's just being harsh for no reason.
I will say this. On paper, this looked to be a decent card. I'll be honest. But
I didn't even know Gerald Washington was still fighting.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be fighting.
But that Hrgovic fight, we expected more from Hrgovic. And
it was a showcase fight.
I know, but he was very flat in that fight.
Yes.
And we knew Chisora was long in the tooth, and we also knew Gerald Washington was long in the tooth. But we didn't realize how far along they really were because of that. That was another uneventful fight. So the undercard was very uneventful, even though on paper these were pretty decent matchups, but they just didn't play out that way, in my opinion. They were very lackluster, you know? So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, so you know, it always amazes me, you know, and again, I had to go look it back up because I don't get the zone. $25 a month. $25.99 a month.
Did you cancel it?
Yeah, I'm done.
You canceled it, huh?
I'm done. It was $19 last year in 2022.
25 this year.
25 this year. It goes up $5-6. When we first got it, what was it? $10 a month?
Yes, $9.99.
$10. Yeah, $10 a month when we first got this.
Yeah,
and it went up to $25.
That's right.
How is that possible? And the product has not gotten better. The product, I would argue, has gotten worse because now they've added pay-per-view on there. Because that was the whole thing. You were buying this so you didn't have to do pay-per-view. So they were supposed to have big fights on it, and it was just going to happen that way.
That's correct.
No, it didn't work that way. You still have pay-per-view on there. It's ridiculous. I'm done with the zone, man. I'm done with it.
A lot of people are saying that to me.
If they got a fight that I want to see on there, you know, and I make the determination, I'll pay $25 for it. I'll buy it a month. I'll buy it by the month because they don't have enough. I know they don't have enough to keep you around every month. They don't have that many good fights on there. And we'll get to that in a little while because they've announced their schedule, their new schedule, which is, you know, drizzling, you know what. So let's go. I tell you what, this was to me, the fight of the weekend here. Emanuel Navarrete versus Oscar Valdez, 12 rounds on ESPN for Navarrete's WBO junior lightweight title. Navarrete wins a unanimous decision over Oscar Valdez, 119-109, 118-110, 116-112. Man, I'll tell you what, I did not expect this type of fight, man. I thought that, you know, Valdez, he's in there with a live body. It could go either way. I did not expect this. I mean, he just got the better of him in every corner of that fight. You know what I mean? Navarrete just looked good. He hurt him in the first round. Did you see his eye? Did you see Valdez's eye at the end of the fight?
Oh, my God. Grotesque.
It was awful, man.
Grotesque.
Yeah. He hurt him multiple times through the fight, you know, and Valdez was trying, you know, you could see he's in there. He's throwing, he's trying to keep up with him, man. Navarrete, this is crazy. And I don't really like to follow punch stats, but this stat just jumps out at you. Navarrete threw 1,038 punches to Valdez's 436. And that just lets you know you're not going to win a fight against someone that busy. You know, you have to put some hurt on him. You have to try to slow him down with defense. You have to do something You know what I mean? But man, I tell you what, Navarrete looked really, really good. I was surprised. And I get it, he's a champion, but we've all seen Valdez. We've all seen Valdez come up and everything. But I didn't, and again, he's a champion, so you can't really, the fight could have gone either way going in. But I didn't expect that. I mean, that was just a runaway, man.
Most people favored Valdez. I favored Valdez, and there's Manny from the En Vivo podcast. He was the only one on
Valdez. Yeah, I would have favored Valdez too. Yeah, for sure.
Manny. Shout out to Manny from the En Vivo podcast, because he was the only one on the panel last week on the roundtable last Thursday that picked Navarrete, and he was pretty adamant about it. He was surprised that all of us were picking Valdez, and he was even incredulous to my pick because I thought Valdez was going to stop Navarrete because we keep saying this guy's so awkward, he's wide open, throws these wide looping shots, he's got a porous defense, he's not that hard to hit. We say all these things, and we always say that eventually it's going to catch up with him. We thought this was going to be the time when it caught up with him, because Valdez throws those short, compact shots. He's got pretty decent foot speed. He's a very, very good counterpuncher as well. And I thought he was gonna run into one of those big left hooks from Valdez after he leaped in with one of his own wide shots. But the thing about Navarrete is he's just so unorthodox, so awkward. We repeatedly say this, but he'll start a punch and open it up wide, and then towards the end of the punch, he'll tighten it up right at the end. So it's almost like this guy is throwing curveballs when he's throwing these shots at you, because he starts to punch off, and you think it's going to come at you from a certain angle, but midway through throwing the punch, he changes that trajectory of it at the last minute, and that's how he's landing these shots. Like, this guy throws punches like an octopus. It's amazing that the way he's able to land them. And I remember Tim Bradley during one of his fights one time saying, "I don't even know how he throws these punches without hurting his arms, because the way he throws those punches looks like he's going to pull a muscle or something." It's crazy how unorthodox this guy is, and how he's able to throw these shots the way he throws them and gets them through.
Yeah.
How do you spar for a guy like this?
Yeah.
How could anyone that you spar with replicate this guy's style? Right? It's crazy.
I Am Your Leader says, easy pick for me. Navarrete has been in my top pound for pound. Is he your top pound for pound fighter?
Come on. Cut it out, will you?
Corey Lee had Valdez losing too.
Well, ever since I got on Corey Lee, right?
Yeah.
You know what he does now? He screenshots his bets and sends them to me before and after the fight. That's because I used to get on him all the time, right?
We don't hear too much from Corey Lee since then, do we?
Well, what Corey Lee's been doing. He's been real busy doing a lot of landscaping work now, man. Shout out to Corey Lee. He's making some good,
man.
He's hustling right now.
Yeah, bring him over here, man. Let him do my yard. My yard's terrible. I need some landscaping done over here, man. Yeah, I thought that was a good fight. Where does Navarrete go from here? Who does he fight next?
Well, I'm hearing people say that he could beat anyone except for Shakur Stevenson. Well,
he's not beating Shakur.
I know he probably won't beat Shakur, but we say that all the time, that he's not going to beat this guy. He's not going to. Could he give Shakur a good fight though?
No.
Would it could he surprise him at all, or no? Would it be a cakewalk? You think it'd be a cakewalk for Shakur?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing, man. Shakur decides whether he wants to fight or he doesn't want to fight. In the sense that if he wants to fight you, you'll trade shots. If he doesn't want a glove laid on him, you're not going to touch him.
Yeah, he's just so quick, isn't he?
Too fast. Yeah, he's too fast.
So fast.
And he generates power now. He's a little bit bigger than he was when he first came in.
He's sitting down on shots now.
Yeah, kind of acclimating to the weight and everything like that. And now, especially that he's in there, and again, he sits down more on his punches. You ain't beating that guy. You're not catching that guy.
Not beating that
You're
guy.
not catching that dude. I mean, really, like who? You got guys like Devin Haney, And like Shakur Stevenson, and them guys, Shakur is so quick that, again, man, if he can make that whole fight easy if he wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see anybody beating that dude, man. I really don't. You know, I used to think, like I said, man, Haney was the cream of that division, but then his fights with Loma, or his fight with Loma or whatever. But I think after that, you kind of have to give it to Shakur.
Yeah.
Shakur. I'm not talking like pound for pound or nothing like that, but I'm just talking about in that little divisions and stuff. Yeah, I would, man. He's just too good, man. Too good. Plus, he trains over there training with Terrence Crawford. And I mean, what do you think he's doing over there, man? Them guys train all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. All right, let's go to Showtime. Manny Rodriguez versus Melvin Lopez, 12 rounds for the vacant IBF bantamweight title that he lost against Inoue, man. Rodriguez came out, won a lopsided unanimous decision over Lopez, 120-105 on all three cards. I think he had him down 3 times. Was 3 times in the 12th?
I think it was 3 times, yeah.
I thought it was 3 times in the 12th.
3 or 4. I think it was even 4. Was it 3 or 4? Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I thought he was going to finish him in the 12th.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, man, I've always liked Manny Rodriguez. I've always thought he had something.
We actually picked him to beat Inoue back when he was in the tournament. This guy is This guy is a slick guy, man.
Yeah. And I mean, that was before, Inoue was beating everybody, That's why I like that tournament. And that tournament will never happen again. But that's why I like that tournament, man, because that's when Inoue faced fire for the first time. For me, anyway. Because he was beating former champions and just guys like, all right, but let's get you some real fighters here.
On paper,
yeah,
that was a really tough fight on paper.
Yeah, and I thought there was no way. I mean, Manny Rodriguez was, he was from Top Rank at the time. Top Rank was touting him. Top Rank was pushing him a little bit. He just got blazed in there, man. That fight wasn't even close. And, for him, I tell you what, it shows a lot of character for Rodriguez to lose that fight, to get his career back on track, to be in this position anyway, right? To fight again for another title and win. And now he's a 2-time champion. So that's got to get a lot of credit too, man. It's hard coming back after a loss. You got to think of all the, when you lose, especially in a sport like this, you're like, what did I do wrong? Am I not tough enough? All these questions come at you.
A lot of second guessing.
Yeah. But for him to go back, lose the way he did, come back, regroup himself and get himself back to this position and to win. That shows a lot of character in my book. I don't know, man.
I agree, man.
Yeah. That was something. And he's a guy I've always liked. We followed him from his early career, man. We've always followed him for his early career. And, I'm glad he won this fight, man. I really am. I picked him to win this fight, but, I'm glad he won. And he won lopsided, too. It wasn't even close. Man. Who was on this other? Gary Antoine Russell knocked his guy out in the first round. He looked pretty good, stayed undefeated. And what was that co-main on here? I can't remember the co-main.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't know. The card wasn't great.
It wasn't a top level card.
No. That ESPN card was all right. That main event on the ESPN, to me, that was definitely the
fight of the week. That was the fight of the weekend.
Inoue Don't Air 1 was on the World Boxing Super Series or whatever it was, World Boxing Series or whatever.
The other one was Trayvon Marshall versus Gabriel Maestre.
Yeah, I don't even know who won that one.
Yeah, Trayvon Marshall won by he lost by TKO, I believe.
Gotcha. And that was the weekend of fights, man. Let's see what's up next. I don't think there's much next week. Let me see here. It's the 13th. So August 19th on DAZN, Gal Yafai versus Tommy Frank, 10 rounds flyweights. Cyrus Pattinson versus Kona Walker, 10 rounds welterweights. That's the co-main, guys. Again, DAZN. I don't mind the main event too much. But give me a break, man. Come on. That's what you're paying for. And that's it for this week. That's it. So just DAZN's got the
when AJ ends up retiring, right? And you look at who they have over there, because Regis Prograis is getting up there in age. I mean, who else do they have over there? They got Bam Rodriguez, but he's in a very lightweight class. Like Bob's got like
too. Don't get me wrong. I love to watch Bam fight.
When you look at like PBC, they got like younger guys coming up. You know what I mean? They still got Tank, who's 28, so he's got about probably 5 or 6 more years left in him. You know, they got Terrence Crawford now. He's probably have a good 2 more years in him. They got Canelo. They got David Benavidez, who's young, right? He's in his mid-20s. And you look at guy over Top Rank. You know, they got their guys over there too. They got Big Baby Anderson. They got Tio. You know,
got a lot of good guys over there too.
They got Shakur. These are all young guys that have potential. You know, that could grow, right?
Yeah.
So what does Hearn have? What's the outlook for Matchroom in the future right now?
You know, Hearn lost Canelo. You know what I mean? Like Hearn was promoting Canelo and lost Canelo. You know, there's no other way to put it. You lost.
I mean, Bob's got Keyshawn Davis. I mean,
yeah, that
got
guy.
A lot of young guys, man,
coming up. You know, yeah. I mean, like they also got that heavyweight too, don't they? The American heavyweight from the Olympics. What's that guy's name? Help me out in the chat. What is that guy's name?
Who you talking about? Matchroom?
Yeah, Boots is with PBC.
Boots. You talking about Jalalov or something?
No, not him. He's the big heavyweight. Who's the he fought Jalalov in the whatchamacallit in the finals.
Oh, Hergovich you're talking about?
No, it's Torres. That's it.
Oh, Torres.
Ricardo Torres? Yeah, Ricardo Torres, that's it.
Eddie got Andy Cruz. I mean, he's a good one too, right? Good Cuban fighter.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Ryan Garcia,
rank.
Ryan Garcia still a golden boy. That ain't my guess is that's not changing.
Richard Torres.
Yeah.
Okay.
Richard Torres, that's what it was.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Let's see. I am your leader. Hernside, Montana Love. Hey, just for that, he's getting points in my book. You know where Montana Love is from, don't you, B?
It's from Ohio.
That's right. That's right. Let's see what else they got here.
He went over the top rope, man. He got knocked out of the King of the Ring. He went over the top rope. He went over the top rope, man. Against Stevie Spark.
King of the Ring.
He lost the King of the Ring tournament going over the top rope. Robbie over the top rope, the disruptor.
All right, let's figure the disruptor here. Robert, you're live.
What's up, disruptor?
Hello, guys.
Stop it, Beeb.
Trying to throw a monkey wrench in the show all the time?
No, I would never do that.
False flag?
Yesterday was a very never mind. Can I talk now?
Yeah, did you put anything in AJ's water yesterday? What was going on with AJ, man?
I was very disappointed by his performance, Joe.
Jesus.
Derek James is supposed to be a good trainer. I didn't see very much improvement from the Franklin fight to this fight. I realize it was the substitute last-minute opponent, but I didn't really see any improvement. And I'll tell you right now, if he fights Wilder and he fights Fury, he'll lose both of those fights.
So, Robert.
Well, he's either going to fight one or the other. I don't see him fighting both.
So, Robert.
No, I guarantee. Well, if he fights Wilder, Eric, he's going to go to sleep.
So Robert, if you had a vote, would you vote Anthony Joshua into the Boxing Hall of Fame when he retires?
Absolutely. Well, he's going to get in because he's two-time heavyweight champion. But I don't think he deserves to get in, but he's going to get in.
Dude.
Don't you base him off
the standard? Remember, the standard now is Arturo Gatti. And we know that Anthony Joshua is better than Arturo Gatti.
There it is. That's
he
the
will
standard.
get in.
Yeah.
but you can only compare him to the fighters in his era. So he'll probably end up going down as the probably third or fourth best heavyweight in his era. But he's a two-time heavyweight champion. He unified 3 of the belts, one shy of becoming undisputed. So I don't know.
And he did that twice.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal, no?
Yeah.
Those are pretty big accomplishments.
Those are huge accomplishments.
Yes, they are.
So why you minimize him then?
Well, because frankly, you have to act like you really want to compete, and you look like you coasted yesterday.
That's not part of the criteria. Getting in the Boxing Hall of Fame, there's nothing written that says you have to look like you want to compete.
I disagree.
And not to mention, he knocked the guy out. He knocked him out cold. One shot.
Yeah, one punch in the 7th round. You took 6 rounds to land that punch, Eric.
Well, how long would it take? How long should it take him? I mean, I think 6 rounds is like pretty good. No.
Imagine someone watching this show right now and saying, "B, this show sucks because you don't look like you want to compete." That's not a fair barometer of how you assess, something.
Not to mention the guy was a late sub.
So let me ask you this.
Joe, Eric, look, none of us are in the boxing ring. But frankly, it looked like he coasted.
Sometimes I wish you were in the boxing ring.
Oh, stop it.
Sometimes I wish you were in there, Robbie.
I think Robbie might be.
I'd like to get my hands on you sometimes. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Let's get it on.
All right,
guys. Real quick, guys.
Go ahead,
real quick, guys. There's a bunch of people listening right now, man. Just give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing. Even if you don't like what we're doing, just do it anyway. All right. I'm not asking you to work in a coal mine. Yeah, just hit the like button. Let's get the likes up, man. All right, Robert, go ahead.
Yeah. Look, that's my opinion on. And look, there are heavyweights on that card yesterday that I hope we never see again.
Wow.
Gerald Washington, Derek Chisora, Robert Helenius, they all need to find something else to do. As far as Valdez and Navarrete, I was with the rest of you. I picked Oscar to win that fight, and man, Navarrete did better than I thought he would. But him and Shakur Stevenson are now in 2 different weight classes. Do you think Navarrete will move up to 135, or will he stay at 130?
I could see him going to 135 eventually. I don't know if it's going to be in the next fight or so, but maybe.
Yeah, because the rumor I keep hearing about Shakur is he's going to fight Lomachenko, and that'll be one hell of a fight.
Lomachenko turned down the fight from what Shakur said. He said he turned down the fight.
Bob Arum said that Lomachenko is taking off the rest of the year, and that he's going concerned about the Ukraine situation still, and he's coming off that tough loss to Haney or whatever. And Shakur is going to get out again. I think October or November, Bob was saying. And some names that were mentioned were Kambosos is one. Frank Martin's name's been thrown out there too.
Wow. So he's got some. It's not some. Light
him
touches, man.
Frank,
those are big guys, man. Those are good guys.
Yeah. Well, Joe, after the Kambosos fight, you've seen the pictures of Stevenson, arguing with Kambosos because he thought Maxie used one, and so did I. I could see Stevenson taking Kambosos because I'm sure he'd like to get his hands on him.
Sure.
But okay, I didn't know that about Lomachenko, but I'm okay with either one of those fights. I think Frank Martin would be good. Now, Shakur's going to win both of those fights, but I think those are both good opponents for Shakur.
Sure, yeah.
So,
yeah.
No, I was very disappointed in the heavyweights in the afternoon, but I was very surprised by the performance by Navarrete last night, and I'm glad for Emanuel Rodriguez. And I guess him and the guy that beat Donaire on the pay-per-view, I guess those two are going to fight next for unification.
Possible.
So, yeah. It was an okay day yesterday for boxing. So,
how many rounds does Wilder versus Joshua go when they fight? If they fight?
After what I saw yesterday, I think Wilder gets rid of them in about 4.
Did you hear what Andy Lee said and Tony Bellew said?
I wanted to comment on Tony Bellew. He's an idiot for saying that Joshua is still a work in progress.
Ho!
Where the hell does
Friend of the show here, son. Friend of the show, Tony Bellew.
Like
Friend of the show, Tony Bellew, son. You put some respect on his name when you call up in here.
Come on, that was ridiculous. He's a 33-year-old two-time heavyweight champion.
Let me tell you something.
You still work.
Tony Bellew's held a bunch of titles. He could say whatever he wants.
They both, Andy Lee, David Hay, and Tony Bellew said that they don't want to see Anthony Joshua fight Wilder next. They think he should get like 1 or 2 more fights in. Dude, it's like a $60 million fight, bro, for Joshua. Like, why would he not fight, bro? Come on.
Right.
Yeah, he's
friend of the show, son.
Wilder.
Know that.
He's going to fight Wilder, and Wilder. Look, I always thought that Joshua would beat Wilder. I've always thought that, but not anymore. Not anymore. I think Wilder will put him to sleep.
It's interesting. I always say Joshua has more ways to win. I just don't trust that he can. I just don't trust that he can.
No, I agree.
But in fairness, we've seen it. We've seen it done before. We know he can follow a game plan, and we've seen. We've seen.
Well, not only that, we've seen Wilder give up a lot of rounds in fights before knocking guys out. So.
Well, the perfect example of that, Joe, was when he fought Gerald Washington. Gerald Washington won the first 4 rounds, and all it took was 1 punch in the 5th, and that was it.
Most of his fighters win most. Yeah, he's losing most of his fights.
Yeah.
Luis Ortiz, both fights he was down. Yeah,
he was down. Yeah, right. All right, Robert, we're gonna get rolling here, man. Thanks for calling in and put you back on hold. Maybe you know what? So I was thinking about the Spence fight, the Spence and Crawford fight, and it sounds like they're going to have a rematch.
I hope not.
I hope not too. A lot of people hope not. Could that fight be any different? And before you answer, you remember the Terry Norris-Simon Brown fight?
Yes.
And that was a one-way 4-round smashing, right?
Yeah.
And that second time, it looked like a completely different fight. Can we see anything like that happen? Or no?
I'll tell you why we can't, because Terry Norris had different ways to fight guys. We've seen him use a lot of movement and outbox guys, and we've seen him seek and destroy. We've never seen Spence fight any other way than what he's shown. He's a come forward guy, a grinder, wears you down. And if he decides to do what Terry Norris did in the second fight against Simon Brown, he's not going to be able to do that better than Crawford does it. Crawford's the guy with the quicker feet, the better movement, the more versatility, quicker hands. Now we're finding out that Crawford's stronger physically, and the punching power is probably more on Crawford's side. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think that would make much of a difference at all. I don't see that type of scenario happening if Spence and Crawford rematch, if I'm being honest.
It's tough, man. Yeah, it's tough to think. I think that, match wise, like him and Canelo, I think Spence and Canelo match up better in a sense. I mean, I know Canelo's heavier. But if you just I think they match up better. But I think Crawford is slicker than both of them. You know what I mean? I'll
be honest with you. I'm concerned about Spence fighting anyone next. That's just my opinion.
He got roughed up. Did not look good. And we know Crawford is good.
And I like Spence. This is nothing personal against. This is nothing personal against Spence. Spence is a very, very likable guy. I can't say it enough. How good of a person Spence comes off as. He's a good person, and he's made a lot of money. I just don't want to see the guy get hurt.
That's not a bad fight. He should fight Erickson Lubin next. There you go. Somebody, but I think if he's going to fight, he's going to fight. And you got to wonder, what is he? 35.
Going to be 34, Spence.
34, 30, yeah. And because Crawford was a little bit older. But, yeah, he looked every bit his age that night. He really did.
Crawford's going to be 36.
Yeah. Hey, let me bring Robert back on here one more time. Robert, you there?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, let me ask you a question. So you're currently paying for DAZN, right?
Yes.
Was
Mrs.
it
Harris.
worth was
Mrs.
this worth the fights? Was it worth it? Has it
Honestly,
been worth it? Has what you've seen this year on DAZN been worth it?
Tell the truth, Robert. Stop
25
caping.
bucks.
Stop
No.
caping for DAZN, Robert.
This year has been absolutely terrible as far as DAZN is concerned, and I'm very disappointed because when I first got it 2 years ago, they kept having one good fight after another,
Right.
So that's why I kept renewing my subscription. But I'm asking myself, because I'm due to renew again in next May, and I'm asking myself, is the boxing schedule on that platform going to improve between now and next May for me wanting to renew it?
Let me ask you this question, Robert. Let me ask you this question. Does Mrs. Herrick and you chip in for it, or you pay for it yourself?
No, I pay for it myself, Joe.
I want to see
I
receipts.
pay for.
I want to see receipts.
I pay for all of my stuff myself.
On the
I
credit,
don't ask any money
is it on
from
the
my
is it
mother.
on the credit card, or you're writing checks? How are you doing it?
No, I got a credit card that I use.
All right.
Okay.
Look at that.
Good
I'm
for you,
impressed.
But
What's your credit score, Robert?
I think well, my credit score is lousy, but that's another story.
Whoa! It's another reason why we got to get. Oh, I'm sorry.
But
Go ahead.
Honestly, I think next year, if I renew, I may do it month to month instead of paying for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
No,
if
D-Style
I'm-
said
I'm,
that
I'm
to
not
me.
renewing. I'm not getting it.
D-Style
They gotta
said that
re-up.
to me. D-Style said that to me before too, because I told him I pay for the year, and he says, "Yeah, you may be saving a little bit of money, but it's better going month to month because you can choose which months you want to buy and which months you don't want to be a member. If the schedule's bad at certain months, you don't have to pay for that month." And I think he's right.
Yeah, so when I renew next year, that's how I
That's
may
not
do
a bad strategy, Robert. Just make sure you run it by Mrs. Herrick because she goes over the expenses in that household.
Actually, we do things together as far as handling that, Joe. She doesn't.
That's what I said. She's in charge of the expenses.
All right, Robert. That's all I needed, man. I'm gonna put you
All
back
right.
on hold.
All the bills are in her name. Come on.
Virtuoso said Robbie sends money orders to DAZN. Money orders.
That's hilarious.
That's cold-blooded, man. All right, let's see here. We've got a question for his Beef's boyfriend. I saw him up here a little bit earlier. Maybe Big Texas will call in. He might be busy. Maybe Beef blew him off last time. Maybe did blow him off last time. So I'm just saying,
Lois isn't
all
like
right.
him.
Lois doesn't like him. All right, news and rumors here. David Benavidez is rumored to be in the works with Demetrius Andrade for a fall pay-per-view. Beeb, you like that fight? David
Love that
Benavidez,
fight.
Demetrius Andrade.
Love
It's a
it.
good fight. Those are two guys, heavy hitters, man. That's a good fight.
Tricky style for David too.
Yeah, that guy is it's a very difficult style. He's one of those guys, man. It's definitely going to be tricky for him. And I'll be real curious how he solves that. This one I found really funny here. Floyd Mayweather wants Tank Davis versus Naoya Inoue at a catchweight. I think he said 138, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what I don't know what it was.
I can't remember what he said.
But it was something stupid. This is like silly, right?
Yeah, it's kind of foolish.
I mean, Tank's fighting at 140?
135 right now, but he'll eventually go.
135.
He'll eventually go up to 140. Yeah.
Yeah, 135, 140. Like, dude, that's too. Come on, give me a break. Why would you want him? Wouldn't you want him to fight Devin Haney or somebody like that versus Naoya Inoue? Inoue is not a huge name, household name.
No. And then Tank's trainer Calvin Ford's kind of hinting around that they're going to fight a rematch with Isaac Cruz again, and I'm like, come on, man.
Isaac Cruz looked terrible in that fight, in his last fight.
Yeah, he didn't look.
He was on the undercard of that pay-per-view. He looked awful. He did not look good at all.
Yeah.
I don't know, listen, man. And that guy he was fighting didn't look like that was a showcase for Isaac Cruz. And
I would love
awful.
to see Tank fight a Shakur Stevenson. I know it's never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
But I would, oh my God, would that be such a good fight, bro? I don't understand why they didn't try to make a fight with Devin Haney, man. I don't get it.
You know why they didn't try to make a fight with Devin Haney? Because Devin Haney's going to beat him. They're going to, listen, man, they're not in the business of taking 50-50 fights. No promoter is.
Yeah.
So, if they take the fight, they probably think they can win or they're cashing out.
Yeah.
Just like when AJ got his first title, they paid Charles Martin a bunch of money to go up there and drop that belt, because that's what happened.
That's true.
Sombrano said Devin ducked the Loma rematch. I don't know. It doesn't sound like Loma wants to fight,
Yeah, so Loma wants to take some time off anyway, so I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I think about if you're going to take the rest of the year off, man, that's a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, what else are you there for? What else? Yeah. I mean, I guess my question would be what else have you got left to prove? I thought you beat Devin Haney. That fight was razor close to me.
Yeah, Loma's a funny cat. He does the he could have fought Kambosos, which would have been an easier fight, and he could have become lightweight champion again. So that was weird that he passed up on that fight. And then when he became franchise champion, he screwed up the whole undisputed thing, right? Because he could have been undisputed, but he went to franchise, whatever, right? And then he's taking this vacation right now, or this time off, whatever you want to call it. It's like, I don't know. It seems like kind of weird behavior from him.
Yeah, I mean, but he's been fighting all his life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's been in the Olympics. What, he got 2 gold medals or something like that, or something stupid?
I think he's got one. I think he's got 1 gold medal.
Who was it? Zhu Shiming had 2.
Zhu had 2. Clarissa Shields had 2.
Yeah. How in the world do you get 2, man? Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You have to ask yourself too, if you're planning on going pro, is it make sense to stay down there and wait 8 years to get 2 gold medals? You want to really stay amateur that long. So
yeah, well, that's what Duke Reagan is going back in the Olympics. I read that he's going to try.
They're letting pros go back in now. So
it's just I don't know, man. It's a different style, just completely different style in the amateurs than it is in the pros. Just a completely different style.
Yeah, it's weird.
The Axiom says that Bob Arum said that Russian military is near Loma's hometown, and that stresses it, and that's his focus.
Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry, Eric. Loma does have 2. He won it in 2008 and 2012. My fault.
Okay.
Yeah, my mistake.
I mean, that's a crazy accomplishment.
Yeah, he's got 2 gold medals. That's great.
When I talked to Rasheed Warren, I said, why did you stay in that long? I said, why did you stay in, because I think he was in what was he in 2 or 3 times or something like that?
Yeah, I can't.
3-time Olympian, something crazy.
Can't remember exactly, but.
And he was telling me, he said that there wasn't, he said there wasn't anything there. He said in the pros, there wasn't really money there in his division. Not when he was in there. There really wasn't a whole lot of money for him. So that's why he just decided to stay with amateurs.
I still question, and this is just me, and who am I to say this? It's just my opinion. Does it make sense to stay amateur as long as guys like Lomachenko did? And it severely abbreviates your pro career. So, I mean, I don't know the situation, how the amateurs work over there, but you're leaving a lot of money on the table by not going pro earlier. Because he could have had a lot more fights under his belt.
You could have had a lot more fights and a lot more money, I think, but. Yeah, I don't understand that 2-time, winning it twice or being there 2 or 3 times, because like you said, and then you get used to that amateur style. And a lot of those guys, I mean, look at Zhu Shiming. That guy should have been a whirlwind in the pros. He wasn't.
Yeah, he faded out quick.
At all. Loma's one of the first guys I've ever seen come out, with those kind of credentials and do what he's done. And you can point at Clarissa Shields, but it's apples and oranges.
Sure.
What are there 6 people fighting in Shields' division? you know, as opposed to thousands in every other division. Like, come on, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, like, you know, DAZN announces their upcoming fights. Did you see this for September?
I didn't even look at it
all the way through the end of the year. Here we go. $25 a month. Remember this. September 15th, main event, Angel Fierro versus Brian Zamaripa. Yeah. Angel Fierro versus Brian Zamaripa. It's going to be in Tijuana, Mexico for the WBO, NABO lightweight title. That's the main event. September 23rd, Richard Hitchens versus Jose Zepeda. Casino Royale in Florida for the WBC Silver and IBF North American Super Lightweight titles. It's September 23rd. November 18th, Diego Pacheco versus Marcelo Caceres at the YouTube Theater in LA, the WBO International and US WBC Super Middleweight titles. December 16th, Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards, Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona for the IBF WBO Flyweight World Title Unification. Out of those 4 fights, that's the only one I like. I don't like it enough to pay $25 for it, but I like it. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Are those 4 fights worth $25 each? Or your $25 per subscription? That's what you're paying. That's what they're offering us. You know why the qualities went down on DAZN? Because Matchroom and Golden Boy are the two promoting it, right? They're not there anymore as far as like their fighters. Look at Golden Boy's almost getting fleeced. Ryan Garcia doesn't want to fight for that guy.
No.
And we might not see Ryan Garcia for a minute. You know?
Well, what they have been saying, and this is something Bob said, was that they're kind of talking to Oscar about him versus Tio. So I don't know if it'll get done.
Don't know. You know, I mean, who knows? That's a great fight, and if it happens, that's awesome. But that fight's going to be on ESPN. You know, not necessarily DAZN.
So
Robert's asking what happened to Regis Prograis and Devin Haney. That fight's not happening.
Is it not happening, or
I don't believe it's happening. He said, I think Prograis said that he can make more money fighting Adrian Broner than he can Devin Haney. So there you go. It sounds like it's fallen through. I don't know if it's all the way through, but it's looks like it's fallen through. Because David Morrell was supposed to fight Benavidez. That fight fell through. Wilder was supposed to fight Ruiz again, or Wilder was supposed to fight Ruiz. And apparently,
I guess
from what his trainer said, from what Wilder's trainer said, Malik, he said that he priced himself out of that fight. He said that Ruiz priced himself out. And you know what? I believe it. He's had some erratic behavior, you know.
Eddie said they're still trying to make that Prograis-Haney fight, but I guess Prograis was also complaining too about, them changing the date around and all this and that. But he's kind of complaining about that.
Yeah. Now, is Prograis isn't Matchroom, is he, or is he?
Yes, he's Matchroom.
He is Matchroom. Okay. But again, man, they're not doing well here as far as putting the fights on the fighters. A lot of those. Listen, again, you lose. How did those two lose Canelo? Golden Boy lost him. Matchroom lost him. And you could say, no, his contract ran out and he went over. Yeah, well, you are the promoter. This is your job. Your gig is to keep fighters happy, get the fights they want. It's your job. It's your job to convince him not to go over there. It's called keeping customers. He's your customer. You can't keep him. It is what it is.
Yeah. I just think that Eddie had a harder time than he anticipated signing a lot of American fighters. Because a lot of the American fighters were wary fighting on the app because of the exposure. And the problem is a a lot of Americans just don't have DAZN. DAZN's never really taken off here in the United States. So if you want to build yourself up as an American fighter, I don't know how it is in the UK. So to be fair to the UK people, they may love it. A lot of Americans don't like DAZN. I don't know how the UK people like it. The UK fans,
it's popular there, I guess, but
if they're happy, I don't know. So I don't want to speak for the UK people. All we can do is speak for the Americans, right?
But if you're a Canelo fan, why would I get DAZN? I'm speaking of when he was on DAZN. Why would I get it? All his fights are on pay-per-view now. So why on earth would I get that fight?
Yeah.
Why? That makes zero sense.
I guess for the UK fans, it may be better because they were probably having to buy a lot of these fights on like Sky and Queensberry, I guess, would not have had as many dates as DAZN has because DAZN is like a digital platform. So maybe the UK fans are more happier with DAZN than we are.
That's possible.
And that's fair. But Box, it says DAZN sucks everywhere except Italy.
What? DAZN sucks everywhere except Italy.
Yeah. Canelo fights are going to be pay-per-view. That's correct. But like I said, if the UK fans like a lot of those domestic level fights that they're over in the UK that they're getting, then I mean I can understand that, but the American consumer is not really overly interested in DAZN to be honest.
No, I mean again, we have subpar fights. That's what you're offering. You're offering very subpar fights.
Yeah.
For $25 a month, you shouldn't have a pay-per-view because all the money that they're getting per month would, you know what I'm saying? Like 25 per month on each one of those. That's going to cover your pay-per-view. That should cover your pay-per-view because you're not going to have blockbuster fights every month. And you don't have again, your biggest fight right now is in December with Bam Rodriguez. You know what I mean? That's their biggest fight right now. And somebody in the chat said, that Prograis and Haney would have been on DAZN pay-per-view. Yeah, for what? That's not a pay. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm paying $25 a month, why am I going to watch this on paper? It makes zero sense. For the quality that you're getting, it makes zero sense, man. No question. I'm glad to see somebody in the UK agrees with that too. DAZN is shite here in the UK too. There you go. Yeah, I agree. It's you're charging way too much, man. So yeah, there you go. Beeb, we've come to the part in our show where we have your lover on the line. Now I don't know if he's your lover. He's he wants to be you.
Never.
But I think you know what? He comes on here, he shows respect to you, he sings to you. Least you can do is
don't do this.
Big Texas 806, you are live.
Don't do it.
Hello, B.
How are you today?
Before I get started with my poem, I'd like to thank B for representing us well. LGBTQ. And
very good.
I'd like to get started with my poem.
Yes, absolutely. Please.
Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Roses are red. Violets are blue.
Yeah.
I think Robbie wants some of this too. Okay, now I want to get started with my song.
That was very good.
Beeb. I hope everybody enjoys it. But the important thing is that Beeb enjoys it. So here we go.
Absolutely.
Oh, Beeb, I love you so. Never ever gonna let you go. Once I get my hands on you.
Oh, he's got a voice.
Beeb, I love you so. So, Robbie, you better let it go. Because Beeb loves me too.
Yes.
Love you, Beeb.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much, Big Texas. That was beautiful. Beeb, I mean, come on. He's got a great voice. And he puts a lot. You can tell he's singing his heart out there. He's got feeling in that song.
Eric, please.
That poem, a little love triangle between you, Big Texas, and Robert, huh?
No, please,
little sandwich action there, huh?
Oh,
hey.
Eric, no.
You're the representative, and I like that. I like that we have a representative from the LGBTQ. I think I spelled it wrong, but you guys know what I meant. I like that we have a representative. And Beeb, I like that because you're not just a macho guy, who likes boxing and everything. You walk it like you talk it. I love it.
Please.
Thank you, Beeb. Thank you. Hey, Beeb. Thank you.
This is blasphemous.
I love Beeb's face during this whole thing. He's gonna have to go to the massage parlors twice this week just to rub this stain off him. Look at him. Is there any way? Let me ask you a question, Beeb. Is there any way you would meet Big Texas?
Never.
Go on a date with him?
No, Eric. Please don't even suggest it.
What are the odds that you would ever go on a date with him?
-15.
-15. So he's only got like you mean -15 odds?
I got Lois, man.
You got Lois?
I got Lois. I'm not worried about that guy.
Well, now you have Big Texas,
Ugh.
which is always good to have a backup, Beeb, in case you and Lois don't last. I mean, what if she gets a hole or something like that in her and she deflates?
Eric, please.
I'm asking questions. I'm trying to get to the bottom of things. That's all I do.
It's defamation.
Well, I don't want to get sued. So on that note, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter, or X now, formerly known as Twitter, at jhabib1. Find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. And you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at ringside73. Guys, we will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Be safe.